What's like the drunkest someone's gotten on here? I was thinking that today. I was like, I want to get
Uh,
hammered and come on this podcast.
I mean, some of the early episodes used to get pretty rowdy, and they've toned down a bit. But like, I remember one time, and like they're in person ones too. So like, those ones are always just prone to possibly getting really drunk because like,
Oh yeah, yeah. You're
like we're
together.
yeah, you have that camaraderie, and you just
Yeah.
kind of just end up going drink for drink. But I remember, I think it was, yeah, like an early one, but it was this band called Common Choir. They're like a metalcore band from here in the Twin Cities, and they came over with a case and like a handle of like Jim Beam, and we just went pretty hard on that one. What up,
Nice.
Ben?
What up? How are you?
Ben.
What's up, Alex? My baby boy.
Hey there, baby boy.
Uh, Dudes, I'm so happy we're connecting again. I know Ben. We just talked kind of more recently back in like September.
Yeah.
But you know, me and Alex were Alex figured out that the last time he was on the show was 2022. So I mean, stoked to have you both on.
2022 is simultaneously yesterday and 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um, well, you know, like I was also telling Alex, like I'm this split is so sick, and I'm so happy that you guys got together to put this out. Um, but yeah, we'll have a good time. Do you guys have any questions before we get started? Perfect. Well, my
Ready?
infamous
Ready?
question for the two of you is, you don't have to be drinking on these episodes, but if you have anything that you'd like to crack open for
No,
the
you have to
opening
be
round.
drinking on these episodes. Is that water?
It is. No, it's vodka. No, it's water.
Yeah, man. This is called Beers with Bands, Ben.
I know, I know. I've been going so hard like the last like 5 days in a row. Kate and I have been really into making these orange Manhattans.
Ooh.
And they're just delightful and delicious, but I've been doing a little hard and I've got band practice tonight and I want to be on my A game, so I'm drinking water.
That's
All right.
you know we'll allow it. I feel like for this
Yeah.
time.
I'll drink enough for him.
Okay. Uh, so what I'll do is I'll count us down. I'll crack my beer or my drink. I guess it's not technically beer for this episode. And then we'll just have a good time, and I'll bring both of you in, and we'll just go from there. So,
Hell yeah.
all right. In three, two, one. Welcome to the Beers and Bands podcast with your host, Michael Torres. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Beers with Bands. Very stoked to be doing this one. It's you know, two different bands. I'm sitting down with basically a place for birthday dads today. You know, I'm welcoming Ben and Alex to the episode today. How you guys doing?
Doing good, Michael. It's good to talk to you again.
Very
Dude,
good. Yeah, good to see you.
it's so wonderful to see both of your faces today. You know, obviously I have Ben from A Place for Owls, and then Alex, aka Birthday Dad, from Birthday Dad. For people that aren't aware, Place for Owls, emo from Denver. They were on more recently back in October for their latest LP, and then you know, Alex is back on the podcast after you know almost 2.5 years, 3 years from his LP debut. So I'm really stoked to be chatting with both of you today with some new stuff that has more recently come out. Specifically, your split that we'll get into here called "My Friends Were Here." You know, this split has been fun to listen to because obviously you two kind of do. I think Ben left already. I already failed.
I was getting the records. We have to show physical proof that
Promo.
that is true.
yes, yes. Continue,
Uh,
Michael, with my blessing.
Okay, thank you. You know, it's such a cool split because for people that have listened to you know Place for Owls or Birthday Dad respectively, you guys are two very different styles of music. I know you guys have been friends for quite a while. You know, seeing all the mutual tweets go back and forth and such as that. But like, kind of take me back. Like, how did you two decide to come up with like meshing both of your sounds into this 4 song split?
Well, I mean, like you said, we've just been homies. I've loved Alex since the first single from The Hermit came out, which was like I think was it TV Dinner?
We were doing Death 2 and then TV Dinner, yeah.
Yeah, Death. Yeah, dude, from Death 2, I like it was on one of those like playlists that I follow. I forget who, but somebody like Zach from The Alternative or some such was like, check this out. It's like Jack's Mannequin and Bright Eyes Had a Baby. And so I just love Alex's stuff. And so it's baked into my DNA to be a celebrator of good music that's made by others, especially a celebrator of music that I feel is under celebrated or underrepresented. And so I think, no lie, I think Alex is one of the best songwriters, modern songwriters in our scene. So
Such
I
a
just,
sweetheart.
yes, well, I love you.
I
And then,
think we're cut from the same cloth musically, different corners of that cloth. So when I first heard A Place for Owls, immediately I'm like, these guys grew up listening to all the same stuff I grew up listening to. Like, I know we would be friends, we would fuck with each other's music, and I'm glad that they like mine so much because they were immediately one of my favorite bands I discovered from Twitter.
And then my wife's family is from the same part of the world in like kind of Central Valley, California. And so we go to Central Valley like almost every Christmas. And so I just hit Alex up to like, hey, I could play like an acoustic show while I'm out there and we could play a show together. And so we did that like Christmas. What year was that even?
It's so funny we had that connection. That might have been it was either 22 or 23.
Yeah, yeah. And then when we went on tour with Celebration Guns from Arizona, we played in Sacramento and we hit up Alex to play with us. And so we've like actually met in person and exchanged phone numbers. We're actually like real life friends
And
now.
you guys actually had TV dinner, your half of the split done before that first show even.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We've been scheming and dreaming about this split for literally like 3 years or something ridiculous.
Oh man, that's
Um,
crazy.
Yeah. So we knew we wanted to do an old school split where I love the splits that in like punk and emo where you would do two originals and then the on the side B of the 7 inch or whatever, each band would cover a song from the other band. And so we've wanted to do that for a while. And then Alex, when we were talking about it, you put out a tweet that was like, I would like to do a Bad Books. Or what was the tweet? Do you
Yeah,
remember?
yeah, I would like to do one Bad Books with for Owls. Yeah, and which other than the reference, it doesn't count. I don't think because that would be
Yeah,
like writing an album together.
right.
And I do think some people are confused that on the covers we all played together, like they
Because
think
Right?
it's
they
Because
think
it
I'm
shows.
singing on TV dinner or playing on TV. That's all you guys. I
yeah.
sang for your original.
Well, so there's we're talking so much, Michael. You can feel free to
No,
Jump in
I'm loving
anytime to
this. I'm
stop
loving
me.
this.
But Alex has always felt like Kevin Devine to me, and Alex has always said that I sound like Andy
And
Holt, which is my favorite comp. I get that compliment fairly often, and Manchester Orchestra is like one of my favorite. It's probably Jimmy Eat World, Me Without You, and Manchester Orchestra are my favorite bands. And so we just loved that Bad Books aesthetic, and we absolutely just 100% ripped off the visual of the first Bad Books record. We can Josh from Refresh Records, who put out this split, we've been working with him for 2, 3 years or
Yeah.
whatever at this point to
yeah,
put it out. Uh, he commissioned an artist that he knows to actually do all of our like portraits in the style of that first Bad Books record. Eventually, we'll do the full Bad Books where we actually write songs together and plan every song together. But
that will
this was
happen.
just like a split that kind of is an homage to that Bad Books
Yeah,
situation.
it's a nice little. Also like a nice little teaser if you guys do when you guys finally go to do that. So
Yeah.
it's crazy to me too, like how Alex said that you and the Place for Owls dudes already had your kind of half of the split, and specifically TV Dinner kind of already done prior to that playing, so like at that time you guys had already kind of bounced the idea around, and then like what, obviously TV Dinner is an iconic song in its own. um how did you decide to do TV Dinner?
We went back and forth. We really like Hollywood Forever Cemetery as well. Daniel from A Place for Owls will just, when we're at band practice or whatever, he'll just start on an acoustic guitar playing Hollywood Forever Cemetery. And Alex, just his melodies and his lyrics are just so like cutting and incisive. And it's not cynical in sort of like a total woe is me sort of way, but it's like kind of funny cynical is like the way that I experience it, which I like. But we went back and forth on which song from The Hermit we would want to cover, and I feel like we landed on TV Dinner because it felt like I could have written that song myself and still like believed every line and still like said everything with my like every line with my full chest. And there's some like mysterious lyrics for me that don't quite make sense, like I'm the ironwork rod in the gate. I need an emergency exit and a fire escape.
I'd
Uh,
love to. I would love to explain that.
yeah, yeah,
The
but
reason
like
is so dumb, actually.
yeah, but it's just the poetry of it, like latched into me basically, and I was like, oh fuck, it's got to be TV Dinner. That's the song that we're gonna do. But explain that line for me.
So it's so stupid. So before I knew what the cover art was going to be for the record, I found this picture. It was like a public domain image. I don't know where it was from, like maybe a fire safety advent from the 50s or something that showed like a fire escape. And I had to justify that with something if it was going to be the record's cover, I felt. So I kind of had to like write a reference in the lyrics to it. And in my mind, it just means like I'm the thing that's keeping me stuck here.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm. And I
a
took
dumb
it.
reason to write a weird.
No, it's a beautiful line, and it's really moving to me on a way that I can't quite articulate. But the word rot is like such a poetic word that like never gets put in an emo song or
And I
whatever.
don't know if grammatically it makes sense. Like it's like wrought iron, but can you
Right.
be wrought in something in that way?
Yeah.
Like, no, not really.
It makes sense to me. It's a beautiful line and a beautiful song. And I love the image of like I'm face down on the concrete outside. I don't give one fuck how stupid I look. And someone compassionate tries to stop and say, "Are you okay, buddy?" And you're like, "Fuck you, dude."
I mean, I had the with leading up to this, and obviously listening to the split, and then wanting to listen to the originals too. Like, it'd been a little while since I've gone back and listened to the Hermit, and dude, as soon as that whole album starts, and you lock into it, like Alex, like it's still to this day such an amazing record. Uh,
Thank you.
and like I think Ben, you're completely right in being like in how you said it's one of the more underappreciated records. Like everyone loves it in the DIY scene, but I wish more people knew about it because it's a phenomenal record, um, still to this day.
Yeah. Alex is right now, we're both getting a little bit of a bump on streaming from this, but it's always felt criminal to
Yeah.
me that
I
Alex,
appreciate you phrasing it that way, that we're
yeah,
both a little
we've
bummed.
both got a bump. We got a
Sure.
bump too. We
Did you?
did. Yeah, we
Okay.
went from like 9,000 monthlies to like I think we're at like 1,400 or something like that at this
I
point.
think that goes with just like once you release something,
Yes.
but at the same time, it's a gamble if it's a smaller release. Like, I mean, I put out that little EP that was just kind of like, hey, this is a little, you don't really need to pay attention to this, but here it is. And it didn't get too much attention.
Yeah. But it's always I if I was God and I had a magic wand or whatever, I would just it's criminal to me how few people are fucking with birthday dad. And so I want
I
I want
like it.
I want
I
I
like it.
want more.
Underdog.
I want more for Alex birthday dad. I want more for him. I want more for my band and all my other friends' bands too. But
I think we should all be millionaires and
yeah,
incredibly successful and handsome and rich.
yeah, we certainly deserve it. We've never done anything wrong in our
I
lives.
think beers with bands should they're gonna start moving up. It's gonna be like beers with presidential figures and like There's places you don't have to just talk to a shitty beers with finance bros, like
Just do all these
expand up
subsects from it.
and get your bag.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
we should all make that money. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
We'll
So
we'll
I'll say
see.
that from my memory of how this started, you guys finished TV dinner and you're pretty much just messaged me like, "Hey, we recorded this. We're gonna do a split together. It's done." And this was like November, a couple months after the Hermit. And
Yeah.
the reason it took so long, mostly, other than some logistical things at the end for this to get together, because I'm just so I had to pick like my own song original for it, which I didn't really have much left after the Hermit, and I didn't want to just put something I hated. Like I wanted to like it, so I struggled choosing not only my own song, but also which song of theirs to cover. I went back and forth a little bit.
And then how'd you decide on that song? Because the song that you end up choosing is "Do I Feel at Home Here"
So
from the self-titled.
I knew I wanted to make it like in a birthday dad style, and a problem with the Place for Hours is they're so good and like know how to play their instruments really good. So a lot of their songs are like, fuck, I don't know if I could learn how to do that justice. I had to just pick. Yes, it also spoke to me as Ben was saying that I was like, yeah, I could have wrote this song, and but just the shortest one with the least amount of difficult parts that I could still make my own. And I
It's
guess
what
that was more the main thing is like I have to make it. I don't just want to cover beat for beat exactly. Like you guys did a really good job of that. Like it almost didn't even sound like a Place for Owls song. It sounds like a fucking Weezer song or
yeah.
something. But wanted to make it different enough that you could justify it as a cover, and I hope I accomplished it.
It sounds beautiful. And we also got our homie Doug from Devil May Care uh to play drums on
Yeah,
the
he just
song.
said
Oh hell
hi. By
yeah,
the way, Michael. He just says tell Michael I said what's up.
dude!
Yeah.
Shout out to Doug, man.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
the
It's been a while
best.
since I've talked to that
And
dude
the
as well.
reason that saved it, because also it's so hard to get, like, for me at least, when I'm not near any band members, to schedule a drummer to record. And he came in clutch and like, oh, you need drums real quick because you've been waiting on trying to book a drummer and couldn't make it happen. Here you go. Here's some perfect fucking sick drums.
He did a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love too that like with this, it wasn't just like two DIY mutuals like getting together like band wise and getting and like putting this together, but like you've opened this universe to bring in like more of the DIY Twitter sphere that we've known to love and known to something in love. There's a word there that I'm
No,
missing.
we know it. We know, to know him is to love him.
Yeah, but I love how it's expanding this universe into what y'all are doing and like I too like how Ben how you said like you want to do like the classic style split where two originals and then kind of cover each other's and like to hear the to see one that there was covers on this I was so stoked because both songs in their own right in the original versions are phenomenal but to see each other's takes on the songs and how they came out I was I was blown away because like that's always the tricky thing is being like okay we know how both of these songs are on their own if I'm going to do a cover of it I have to make it as good or better than the original otherwise it's never going to feel right
Exactly.
and obviously I'm not one to I like I've said I don't really make music so I don't have that hurdle to get over but like how did you guys get over that hurdle of like feeling like you were fully accomplished with these covers.
I think it just
Well,
comes down to getting like a good idea for it. Like, if you can come up with something like, okay, this still conveys the song, but is either my own style or something different than the original style. Like, that's my approach to any cover. I think some songs you have no choice but to cover like beat for beat if they're like really fucking classic or like, but when you want to do a cover for fun or for like, appreciating someone else's art, you want to interpret it in your own way.
yeah, I think early on I heard TV Dinner as like a Pinkerton era Weezer song in our heads. Just because like stylistically of lyrically it's that sort of self-pity and anger that Pinkerton era Weezer did really well. Um, and so we also like heard some weird doo-wop parts in it too, like because when you're like in 6/8, you can do the like the I don't know, it's just like I heard it almost as like a country doo-wop Weezer song. And so we were recording a couple songs in that same sort of session, I guess back in 2022.
Yeah,
And two of those songs uh, have yet to see the light of day also. So you're not the only one who's slow. We're slow sometimes when we want to be too. We were banking some stuff for another split that just didn't end up happening. And so we've got two banked songs that we're kind of waiting to do sort of in a split world situation. Um, but just that became the guiding light for us of like, what if we did Weezer cosplay, basically? And what if it was also, I was like getting over a cold, and the only way that I could hit the notes was pushing my voice as like hard as I've ever pushed my voice.
that's my favorite part about the whole cover is your voice because it like reminds me of like the interviews from Andy Hole around recording Mean Everything to Nothing, where he's like smoking 2 packs of cigarettes before every vocal record. Like
Yes.
just like that. Oh, it's so good.
I absolutely, thankfully, it was like 2 or 3 years ago now, but I destroyed my voice for like 3 weeks after that night. I literally like,
There's been 17 surgeries since, and
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
he's
yeah.
not quite the same.
Yeah, in fact, they'll send you my bill, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
but it was so fun to just like pretend to be mean everything to the that Manchester Orchestra, like to pretend to be Andy Hall in Weezer doing a birthday dad cover was just so fun.
And I know we've been talking about the cover songs, but I don't want to fully take away from like the two originals that are on here as well that are also phenomenal. Obviously, Birthday Dad, yours was I Heard the Song in a Dream, and then Ben's and the dudes was Cigarettes and Coffee Stains. Two solid songs that it sets up the split perfectly of just getting us back in that feel of new Birthday Dad and giving us that next iteration of Place for Owls, even though, obviously it kind of technically came before the second LP, which is kind of crazy to think of.
Yeah.
But I mean, two phenomenal songs on there to start off this split. And it's been so fun to just kind of hit repeat and just like get through the covers and then just kind of go back to your normal versions of stuff before going back into it again. It's just been a joy to listen to.
Yeah, thanks, man. We had a lot of fun doing cigarettes and coffee stains. We wanted to sort of push ourselves a little experimentally. So it's functionally a 2 minute long song or whatever. And most of our songs are like 4 minutes, 30 seconds, reliably. Like we love a fourth verse, you know what I mean? And so, it was fun to do a really short 2 minute song, but we're also able to, with that one, experiment a little bit with, it's not math rock, but it is polyrhythmic. So the song starts out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've got a six over top of a four beat. Um, and so it's probably our most like weird and twinkly, and the chorus is really yelly, which felt really right for Birthday Dad's stuff because
yeah.
I love when Alex gets excited and starts yelling. Um, so we love that track, and it was so fun to just kind of, and that's also a track that like probably wouldn't, because it is weirder for us, probably wouldn't fit on an EP or a full length if we did it. Just stylistically, it wouldn't maybe fit in the flow of an album. But the beautiful things about singles and splits and that sort of stuff is like you can just say fuck it, we ball, and just
Yeah.
try whatever you want to try. So that's for us.
Yeah, that's what I had to kind of come to terms with mine was just like this wouldn't really work on a record or like mine might even work better on an EP where there's some more songs to pad it. But I think yeah, I just had to say fuck it, we ball, and that's this place to experiment a little bit. I wrote that song like right after finishing The Hermit, I guess, and kind of referencing The Hermit and just referencing like writing songs in general and how it kind of feels like something else is writing them and you're just pulling out from the ether and figuring it out later. I didn't actually hear that song in a dream. That's just a line That'd be cool. I have maybe heard a song or two in my dreams and tried to remember them and never could, but they're probably trash anyway.
I, I had a
Or I would have remembered them.
Yeah.
I had a dream like 2 or 3 months ago where Jesus Christ was making me gluten-free scones. And
I mean
so
something.
yeah, it does mean it certainly means something. But I literally wrote a song around that idea.
God was one.
Yeah, making scones for
Gluten-free
all.
scones on the bush.
Uh, it was the line that I actually ended up with. It's like he's waiting in the kitchen still. He's making Bob's Red Mill. Uh,
Hell, that's so good. That's I love that shit. That's like that's a dark, funny birthday dad line right there almost.
yeah,
Because I
yeah,
love the dark, funny, or like weird.
yeah.
That's kind of where I was going with this one too. I was listening to like I don't know if you guys are familiar with Sesame Street or not, but one of the characters, Ernie, has a great song called "I Don't Want to Live on the Moon," and I was kind of ripping that a bit.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's wonderful.
I did a cover of it back then as an acoustic one in my Spire demos somewhere.
Uh, and then with this, you also pressed it. There's two different versions. One a beautiful clear, and then one that's a split yellow and blue. And I don't know if there's any meaning behind this, but I wanted to bring it up. Is there any semblance? Because the etching is basically a cow or an ox in this like foliage. Like, does that mean anything, or how does that relate to the record itself?
Yeah, we specifically like asked that some of the imagery from the Hermit would be a part of what we're doing. So in choosing the color scheme of making pink and blue the predominant color, which were the predominant colors on the Hermit. And what the fuck is that animal that's on the cover? It's got big
Good
ass
question.
balls.
I
It's
think
got very big balls.
it's a big bald ram. I think it's a ram.
So we were just like, can we have another like sort of non-traditional animal? It's not a horse, it's not a cow, but like whatever it is. And then I think it was I'm blanking now. I think it was the same artist who did the cover, also did the
The
etching.
etching as well. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was a Casey Slug. Let me make sure I'm getting that right.
AC Daily or something like that.
Okay, Casey Marie the Slug Pit is the Instagram.
Hmm.
Okay.
So talented. Did both the drawings of us as the Bad Books guys and then the etching drawing as well, which is like the flowers and stuff and the foliage and stuff was kind of like a reference to the First Place for Owls record. Like you see these fuckers in a field, you got it, all that's going on. And then the ram, ox, horned beast is the hermit. Combining our worlds together, and then the yellow and the blue of the split was like their first record, yellow, mine blue, and the clear is for our clear friendship and attraction towards each other.
Everything else he said was legitimate except for that last part. The clear means nothing, I think.
That was the only thing I said that was legitimate. Everything else, I made the rest of that up, and the clear was the only real part.
We did, we nerd out on this stuff because Alex and I were both album dudes. We love art design and like how everything sort of fits together to tell a creative story or kind of make a world for people to live in. And so there was like and it's just fun to make something with your friends, especially if you're used to. For us, we're in a band, but Alex doesn't have a band, and so like he's got hired.
Orphan.
Yeah. Just sad and alone all the time.
Uh,
And so he does have some fun collaborators from the internet that he can work with, but I think we just had fun texting a bunch of like bullshit ideas about like what if we did this and what if we did that and it could be cool if we did that for a
I mean,
while.
the album cover was almost what was that movie that it's just a guy doing the splits
It's
from
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, when he's on the van, on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
buses or
yeah,
whatever. No,
yeah,
semis.
yeah. Yeah, well, he does the splits multiple times in multiple films.
True.
But there's an image that Ryan, our bassist, who's a big Jean-Claude Van Damme fan, uh, it's him on between two like chairs or ottomans or whatever, kind of in like a shitty living room. And so that was we pitched that
It's a
to,
split.
yeah, yeah.
I should have went with it. It was fine. I liked it.
No,
I like it now.
we ended up with something beautiful, but we pitched this as the cover initially, and Alex was like, "I'm a serious artiste,
Yes.
and this is not a serious."
We're gonna make a meme cover. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I said, "Hey, here's a reference to a fucking band."
Yeah, let's not steal from Jean-Claude. Let's steal from Andy
Please
Holt.
steal from yeah, because the movie studios have money.
Yeah,
And
that's right. Yeah, yeah. It would be sick. I think that Kevin Devine and Andy Hall seem like chill people and probably would not sue us, but honestly, it would kind of be sick if they
I
did.
want them to sue us because
Yes,
that's
yeah.
attention and press,
Yeah.
Yeah, because
and then
then
we can just say, okay, we're gonna use the Sean Claude Van Damme
Yeah.
cover and take it, and it's fine.
but like it would be nice if I could just have an audio recording of Andy Hall saying, "I'm suing a place for owls," just so I know that he knows who my band is, because that
And
would
you
be
can put that as like a voicemail interlude in
That's
Yeah,
your
right.
it'd be
like
The
so
next,
sick.
twinkly riff above it,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah,
and the defense calls Andy Holt to the stand.
yeah.
I still think it would like obviously leading up to the split release, you post the pictures of everyone on all the socials. I think it would have been kind of still funny if you would have just posted the John Claude Van Damme photo doing the split internally, knowing that like that's not what you're going to use, but just like leave it up there, no words, no nothing, just like March 7th, boom.
I think we did.
Done that.
I think we did
I think
it.
you might have.
Yeah, we did it like the day before, but honestly, posting every day is actually bad for the algorithm because people eventually start ignoring you.
Yeah.
Whatever. But Michael, we did. It's a great idea, but we did do that.
Okay. Because like I mean those little things. Obviously, you did it, so I don't have to tell you. But those little things are just whimsical and funny. I remember like my friend's band. They're called Eugene Levy. After the actor. So leading up to like their first single release, everyone in the band would just post like pictures of Eugene Levy himself, and just be like, "Hey, be ready for this date." Like no one knew the band name at that point or anything, or like what the songs were. So they would just like photo blast Eugene Levy all over their socials, and then just be like, "Here's this day," and then just drop the band name, which was
Well, I posted a picture of the birthday dad screenshot from BoJack Horseman, and then like a hole in a tree, and even George, who mixed my songs and knew the split was coming, was like, "I don't understand this post." I was like, "Have you never seen a fucking? You know what that hole is for? You know where owls live? You fucking idiots! Do they don't have owls in Great Britain?"
Yeah, it's you can have fun being subtle, but then you do have to. I think literally like 3 days before, I was like, just so to be clear, we are releasing music this Friday, and it's going to be good, and you're going to like it. I'm no longer being subtle here. I want to get, let me Obama, let me be
What
clear.
what could it mean?
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
I'm
so
sorry I called you an idiot, George. You're not an idiot. In case you listen.
George Gad, I would die for George Gad.
I would die for George Gad.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah. George Gad
They really
mixed,
don't have owls in Britain, though. That's the thing. They
no,
actually
they do.
They
They
don't
do.
exist there.
They
dude, Harry
do.
Potter had owls.
Dude, Hedwig. So
That is made up. That's a book, Michael.
not
George mixed Alex's side of the split, right?
Yes.
And George mixed and mastered question mark the Hermit.
No, George mixed the Hermit, and Nathan Hussey from All Get Out mastered the Hermit.
Oh, coming up in the world.
Yeah.
Uh, so kind of to go back to where we were at in the beginning, how this is a possible tease at what could possibly be a place for Iowa's Birthday Dad collaborative album. When that fully happens, not to obviously give too much away, but like what can we expect out of like a full collaboration between the two of you?
I mean, one of our shit-brained ideas has we've been texting about for years too, is just to fly Alex out to Colorado and just like write and record together, whether it ends up being an EP or a full length or whatever. I
See
just
what we come up
have,
with. Yeah.
yeah, I love I don't even know how to fucking say it. The Desperacidos,
Yeah.
uh, which is the Connor Oberst Bright Eyes side project, where Connor Oberst is essentially fronting a post-hardcore band. And it's for a while, I actually didn't really love most Bright Eyes records, but I kept going back to that Desperacidos
So
record.
good.
It's so good. And it's like, it's anti-capitalist, and there's these weird like interludes, and the song, his vocal delivery is insane. The songs are insane. It's a great.
Loud and angry.
Yeah, yeah, and the second they did a second record, which is okay, but that first record is like perfect,
I do
perfect.
like the first record better. Yeah.
And so I always hear Alex's voice like as the front man of like a really loud like rock band. Even though the music that Alex makes is predominantly, there's still anger and there's still yelly parts, but it's predominantly like beautiful and lo-fi and kind of like piano based, and there's horns and strings and it's orchestral emo essentially. But like, I think it would be fun. We don't have any concrete plans, but I want it to happen. It would just be fun to do like a really loud rock record together, because it would give me an excuse to just play guitar in a band, which is what I've essentially always wanted to do. I've always just because I have a strong personality and a beautiful singing voice. I've always, I've always been the lead singer, and so in any project that I'm in, and
Like, give
so
me a break.
I know, yeah. So
And
I
I
want
have always
to.
been like not that great a musician, so I'm like, God, can someone else just do this shit for me? Can someone just send me a song that's done and I can just fuck around on top of it and
Yeah,
figure out what and stress about the words a little bit, but the melodies come fairly easily sometimes when you're listening to other people's ideas. It's like,
totally.
oh, I know what goes here a lot of
Yeah,
it. And we have st- we, I mean, I have to send you some stuff too because we just started a song together that, or Ben sent me a song that I'm supposed to add to that I have
yeah.
done in my head and in my car, but not to recording yet. But it's gonna happen soon.
Kind of inspired by this idea of collaborating with DIY Twitter people. This is not totally public, but maybe it's public by the time the episode airs. um, we're a place for owls for our next recording and writing thing. We're doing all collaborative songs. So we're trying to do not only this idea that we've been talking about with Alex, but I did a solo record that wasn't in a place for owls thing, but I collaborated with Arthur from Phones with Chords,
Yep.
and the record was called Phones with Ben, and it was just all sending voice memos back and forth, and it was like you don't overthink anything. You just literally, your first idea you have is what you record.
I
and
love that, dude.
and
That's
it's
my
just,
favorite shit. Like, so good.
yeah, and it's just, there's the guy that produced APFA LP2. He said this thing in the studio a lot, which I think he attributed to Miles Davis, which is the Holy Ghost is in the first take and everything after that is man-made. So what that means essentially is there's something sacred about your first instinct that oftentimes our humanness overthinks it and then fucks it up eventually. And so it's like you get demoitis, right? If you track something and you like the way your voice memo on your iPhone sounded. Alex, you did a lot of your vocals for.
I like it so much that I never change it actually, and I
Yeah,
wholly believe in that idea. With the Hermit, it was more like out of necessity. That's just kind of how I recorded the record. And then with the new Birthday Dad stuff, I have tried to record a little more professionally, but I still can't beat the like. I love the first vocal take into the phone, and I don't need to change it. It's good. And
so
it captures something different, and like I'm thinking about like the room I recorded it in, or like what was going on in my life at the time. Like I don't want an artificial take later. I'm like, now I have to make this good when you already love the first one. So it's all demo takes for me.
So that's basically our instinct for like the next thing that a place for owls is going to create, is like were, kind of two rules. One is it's don't overthink it. It's first idea, best idea. I've for every song we've tracked like 4 songs so far, and for every song, literally my first vocal take is the vocal take. And I'm not even giving Nick Weber a second take at this point. I'm just like that was it. And then I'm like, is there a bad note in there? Do you need a second take?
Mm.
And then if he does, I'll sing like that 3 seconds again.
But I will say sometimes the bad note it makes it a little bit like sometimes, and that's what I like. Not any bad notes, but what I like about the Phones with Ben record so much is like when you hear like the TV in the background or people walking around or like
Yeah.
like somebody laughing in the other room or something. Like it just adds like a real feeling to it. It's hard to recreate.
Yeah. It's almost if you try to, after the fact, artificially create like a lo-fi live record like that or whatever, you would just it's
You
so
can't.
you can't. It's just it only exists in that moment, and there is something beautiful and kind of sacred just about that reality. So Alex and I are trying to co-write this song that'll be for the next thing that we do. Right now we're calling it All Thieves, the record,
Okay.
because it's kind of like tied into that idea of like uh, good artists borrow, great artists steal. Like there's just like nothing original that any of us can ever do, but all you can do is actually genuinely do what you want to do musically. And so the album is going to be A Place for Owls and All Thieves is kind of like all of our friends that are helping write the songs and record the songs and make the record.
I love that. That's amazing because like you said, getting that first take and just letting yourself kind of not overthink it and just do it. Like I've had so many people that I've talked to where they're like, yeah, we recorded it in house, so like we did all that, but then the downfall is like you listen to it over and over and over, and you're like, okay, let's do version 20 where we take out this or we put this back in. It's just like you overanalyze it too much, and I think that's one thing I really like about that series. You have until lunch, where
Yeah.
it's just like you have X amount of time, flush it out, do what feels right, and like it just adds so much. Like you might make something amazing, you might make something shitty, but you got to just go through it and see what happens.
Yeah. I've been a part of these quick little 6-week songwriting groups. I do like one of them a year, and I just try to get some friends together who write music. And it's kind of that same idea as you have until lunch, where it's like once a week, you just got to send in a voice memo of a new song that you wrote. It could be a half finished, it could be just a melody that you have, it can be just you dicking around on the piano. It doesn't matter, but you have to submit something once a week. And some to be totally real with you, uh, I think we did a songwriting session maybe 2 years ago or something like that. And half the songs I wrote in those 6 weeks ended up on A Place for Owls LP2. Like they're, but it was like I wasn't intending. I used to be in this mindset of like I will only write when like the universe wants me to write a song. Like I'll wait until the universe sort of gives me a song, but you only end up writing songs when you feel really, really bad, basically. And that's one thing that you can write about, and that's cool and that's necessary and important. But like for me, I was like, what I want to figure out how to write a song when I'm actually pretty happy about life and things are going pretty well. What would be interesting for me to then sing about and write about if it's not just sadness or whatever. And Alex, I don't remember. You did one
Yeah,
of those with
I did one of those. Yeah, I love taking part in that because I'm a pretty slow songwriter and do kind of generally, not always, but wait for something to strike or like, whatever. But that kind of forced me to like, okay, every week for however many weeks, 6 weeks, you got to write a song, good or bad. And there was like 4 piece of shit songs that came out of that and two that were really great. And one of them is going to be on the next Birthday Dad record. So
That's amazing.
that and it's stuff you wouldn't have written otherwise if you didn't really force yourself to sit down and do it in that moment. So I think shit like that is really helpful, especially if you're kind of feeling kind of stuck.
And it's based off my buddy shared a study with me that was creatives across medium, both songwriters and sculptors or whatever. And the scientific study that they studied two different groups of artists, one that would focus on quality of just only submit one thing at the end, a sculpture, a song, whatever, but it has to be the best. It has to be the best song you've ever done. And then another group that they told to focus on quantity of just turn it into a factory,
Mm,
crank out a bunch. And actually, over the whole study, the group that focused on quantity, just writing a bunch, sculpting a bunch, doing their medium a bunch, and making a bunch of things produced. And I don't know how they, rationalize this or whatever, but apparently, by the metrics of their medium, produced better work than the group that was just focusing on doing one thing but perfectly. And I think sometimes artists, songwriters, whatever, get into a mindset of you're evaluating and kind of editing and judging what you're doing, even in the midst of your finding guitar chords or whatever. And it just like kills any sort of creative juice whenever you are judging what you're doing when you're creating. If you can just create a bunch and just say, I don't fucking care if it's bad at the end of it, just the process of doing it is helpful to me. Um, that just like kind of blew my mind when my buddy shared that with me because it really changed how I think about songwriting, where it's just like turn it into a factory, just do a bunch of it, and then you'll eventually come up with like 10 or 12 songs that you really, really love. But you wouldn't have had those songs if you hadn't turned it into a factory, right?
yeah, yeah, because then you can go back and work on those 10 or 12 songs, but you at least have the material there to start with, rather than taking forever working on getting two songs done, if that.
Right.
Like that's yeah, that's a very cool study. I'll have to look into that. And then obviously, because we talked about a place for owls and thieves, and Alex, you kind of mentioned it, like with the split coming out, more people are gonna, those metrics are going up, so more people are gonna want some birthday dad at some point in the hopefully near to soon future. What are the things looking like on that front for you?
It's looking good. Thankfully, a record is written and mostly recorded and being mixed, and I've got some stuff to add to it a little bit. So hopefully, before the end of the year, we'll
Hell
have
yeah.
LP2 ready to go.
Sick. We'll have to get you back on and talk about LP2 as we get closer to that. Very stoked
Very,
on that.
very
Like,
excited for it. Yeah.
I love, I love, like I said, I love the split, both of you together, and obviously the rest of the A Place for Owls dudes all together is so fun. Um, I can't wait to see this, everything with the thieves and just like, but more collaborative stuff that you two kind of put your heads together. Whether it's like another split in the future or you guys cover more stuff. Because there was one time I was talking to someone and, we do all these covers, these cover comps of like people doing modern baseball or like title fight and stuff like that. But I mentioned it at one point of like, it'd be cool to see a comp of just like everyone in the DIY scene covering each other. So like you guys have each other covered, or like you could see like
I'm
Red
surprised that
Sun.
hasn't really. I don't. That hasn't been done already, huh? No one's done a like everybody cover each other. Like,
I think it'd be really cool to see everyone's take on like what everyone else is doing, and just see maybe like a Red Sun cover A Place for Owls, or
you need to
a full.
trademark this
Yeah,
before the episode comes out because there's a bunch of DIY labels that are gonna swoop your idea.
right. Well, if they swoop it, I want to be a part of it in some way, shape, or form. I'd love to help out because, like, I think it'd be really sick. Or maybe I'll get a bunch of people together and we'll see what can
Oh
happen.
yeah,
But I think it'd be really cool just to see everyone's different takes, and we've grown this DIY Twitter uh, like family and just like sphere so well that I think it'd be everyone would be super down, and like everyone supports each other in such an amazing way. I think it'd be really cool.
And what's beautiful about whether it's, we're calling it fifth wave emo or DIY more broadly or whatever, emo music doesn't sound like each other anymore. It's such a big playgrounds to play in. You could sound like Mineral or Title Fight, or you could sound like like Home Is Where sound like a demonic country western band sometime, like there's just like there's such a large playground right now in DIY music that it doesn't have to follow these certain set of genre rules anymore, which I think is good and helpful and sick. Um, but I think one thing that would be really cool about this idea is you could see the variety of genre that we have, and then kind of like Birthday Dad and A Place for Owls, where it's like Alex tried to make and succeeded in making a Place for Owls song sound like a Birthday Dad song. And you could just have that across. It could be
Yeah.
fun if it was bands like trading songs, like it was kind of like you get two bands that cover each other, and then you just do that a bunch. Or it
Yeah.
could be fun if you're kind of playing Duck Duck Goose or whatever, like that, everybody cover the person to your right. And then
Names in a hat.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, right? Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Well, if this ever comes to fruition, I'll let you guys know. If someone else pulls it off, for sure, let both of these fine people know to get
Yeah.
them on there as well. I know we've bounced around talking the split, the artwork, which I don't know why it didn't click to me that the the beast that was on the etching was just from the cover art of Hermit. I love all those little tie-ins. I love that you guys are also nerds about it and like put all that stuff in it, because then it when we as listeners realize it, we're like, oh shit, like that's so cool that they tied this into this and this and this here. But is there anything that I might have missed on this split that you want the people to know about?
Well, I think shout out to Josh from Refresh for being an early believer in both of our projects, and
Yes.
for being such a consistent cheerleader of both of our bands. And it felt really right to put, because Refresh was the home of
Both of
the
our first
Hermit.
records. Yeah.
Yeah, and when we originally weren't going to do Place for Owls LP1 on vinyl, because we thought, no, when we put it out, we are like, no one's going to give a shit, and we're not going to invest the money ourselves or whatever. And then Josh with Refresh eventually, like a year later after the record came out, did the vinyl for us. And so feels really good to be uh, doing stuff with Josh and Refresh. Um, and I don't know, man, it just feels like it felt like a cool like proof of concept for just like you're talking about future collaboration for stuff in the future. I don't know what you would add, Alex.
There's three Hermit lyrical references in I Heard the Song in a Dream.
Are you going to tell us what
You
those
find
references?
all three, I'll give you a little kiss on the forehead.
Well,
Mwah.
everyone heard it here. That's the challenge. Go figure it out, and then fly to California or fly Alex to you,
Come
whatever
get this kiss.
is more convenient, and get that kiss. I'm gonna have to go and do a deep dive on that and see what I can find.
Let me know if you find them.
Well, I appreciate both of you taking the time out of your Thursday to sit down with me. And I'm so happy we got this on the schedule. I know when it first came across my email, I was like, hell yes. And then part of me was like, three different time zones. We can make this work. We'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
You nailed
But
it.
and we did. We made it work. We're here. We did the dang thing. Um, I love, like I said, I love the split. If anyone's looking, I know you both have it up. You both have both variants on your respective sites.
A place for
Um,
owls.com or you got .bandcamp, Ben? What are we
We
working with?
got we got it both on the Bandcamp, but yeah, the Bandcamp is the where it's for sale.
Yeah,
So
a
go
place
to
for
bandcamp.com.
owls.bandcamp.com and
Yes,
I
yes.
am birthdaydad.bandcamp.com and they are available for purchase now.
The quantities it looks like, because Josh at Refresh put limited quantities on both of our things, so it looks like the color variant is about to sell out, but I know for a fact that there's more
Better
in.
act fast. Don't believe
Yeah.
he's lying to you. You gotta go quickly. These things are flying.
Well, they're selling really alarmingly quick,
It's
which
a
is.
beautiful record. It looks
It
really nice.
is. It
So
does. And because it's a short, we printed it. It was like apparently just as cheap to do a 12-inch vinyl as doing a 7-inch vinyl. 7 inches are like the old school how you do splits or singles or
Right.
whatever. And you usually do the originals on side A and then the covers on side B. But because it was just as cheap to do a 12-inch, I forget who had the idea. I think it was Josh actually.
Yeah,
Uh, if we'll do all the music on side A, and then that'll let us be able to screen print a design on, which I didn't even fucking know that you could do that to a vinyl record,
so
but
cool.
you can screen print a design on side B. And that's why on the clear one it comes through in a cool way. On the color variant, it comes through in a cool way. I will say the color variant is the more popular of the two, and it's the one we printed the less of. So you should not sleep on getting the color variant if you like actually want that.
Yeah. No, yeah, because I was wondering that too, as to like, it's 4 songs. Why would you do a 12-inch? But that
Yeah,
makes a plenty of sense. Like, shout out Josh for thinking of that too, because like,
Apparently, also
works
people
out.
don't want to buy 7 inches. The 12 inches sell more because I would have loved a nice little 7 inches because, like Ben said, that's like the classic way to do it. I myself have a little 7 inch collection. Like I love them, but I also like a nice 12 inch with the etching on the B side or a screen
Yeah,
print. So it worked out very well.
it
just need
did.
to
It's a
do one of
beautiful
those ten
record.
inches.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. Fuck
Obscure
ten
format.
inches.
I do want to eventually figure out a CD for this son of a bitch. I think it might be nice if and when we do another EP together or whatever to just do then like a
Double it
CD.
up.
Yeah, yeah. Because I'm more at this point in my life, I'm listening to way more CDs than I am vinyl records. Vinyl right now, I sort of whenever I it's a little bit more expensive. It's beautiful, but it ends up going on the shelf. But then if I actually want to actively listen to that record, I have a CD player in my car, and so that's what I'm mostly doing. And so would love to do other than the burned copy that I've already burned like 2 years ago of this thing.
Well, you heard it there. Go get your copies. They're selling out fast, especially the split color variant. Um, you know, uh, what am I going to say here? Yeah, go get your copies. If anyone else is looking for Birthday Dad or A Place for Owls in general, besides the records, obviously, where can they find both of you guys respectively at?
At a place for owls on every social media site that you could imagine. We're even on Facebook. And so you can we tried to transition over.
On LinkedIn,
Yes, well, we don't have a
uh,
LinkedIn actually because we're not.
Xiaohongshu. Shu.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We do. We tried to make we are still transitioning, I guess, to Blue Sky, but honestly, a critical mass of the community that we've built up on DIY Twitter, like a good segment of people went over to Blue Sky, but there's still homies that are only on Twitter or whatever. And I just the other week I was like, I just miss interacting with a certain few key people that are just not ever on Blue Sky. And so I started posting on Twitter again, which I feel bad about, but also, I mean, there's no moral consumption under capitalism, so I shouldn't feel that bad, right?
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
If you say birthday dad 3 times in the mirror, I will appear in your bathroom. And that's how you can get hold of me.
But it's at I am birthday
Yeah, you
dad.
have to say I am birthday dad 3 times, and then
I'm trying to
I'll be
resist the
there.
urge to be Alex's manager right now and just be like, I love the jokes, but also you kind of have to market yourself a little bit, buddy.
I'll figure. Come on, you know what I hate so much is like when you have to share the link, or you have to be like, I just put out a song, and you have to say, here's where you find it. Here's the link. Have you
Yeah.
never been on the internet before? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you could tell me I have a song and I can search your band name and it's gonna show up a million times, and people are like, where's the song? I don't know.
I will say he is the only birthday dad out on the streaming sites, so it's super easy to find. Apparently, there's like 4 artists just named Birthday. Don't go to them. Go to Birthday Dad instead.
You can
Boom.
find a lot of happy birthday dad stuff.
Uh, Depending on where you found this episode, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, or you watch the YouTube version again to see Ben and Alex's lovely faces like I did today, make sure you check the hyperlinks down below. Follow them on all the socials. Be ready for Place for Owls and with Thieves, the next Birthday Dad record. Go get a copy of the split if you haven't already, and just follow them for all the shenanigans they might be getting into on their day-to-day lives. One last big wonderful thank you to Ben and Alex for taking the time. Like I said, this EP is amazing, and I'm so happy we got to sit down and have both of you on the show for it.
Thank you, Michael. It's always a pleasure, man.
Thanks, Michael. I have to pee so badly.
Hell yeah. Well, everyone, go follow Place for Owls, go follow Birthday Dad, go listen to My Friends Were Here, and I'll catch everyone on the next episode. See ya.
Bye.